Greetings. I want to talk today about Taoism, or I don't know if it's today, but in this video I want to talk about Taoism. Taoism comes from the philosopher Lao Tzu, and Lao Tzu, basically wrote one book called the Tao Te Ching, and it basically encompasses the Taoist philosophy. He, of course, was a religious leader and was well regarded, and people followed him, etc. But most of his understanding comes from a book called the Tao Te Ching. Basically, like the Lao Tzu decided to leave and basically disappear, and I believe into Nepal. And sort of, go out and live sort of a hermit life. Was not getting much traction, had a lot of negative reaction to his philosophy, and so decided to leave. And as he was leaving and going across the border, the story is that one of the border crossing guards said, great leader, please, can you leave us something so that we know your philosophy, so that we can remember you and what you taught? And so he stayed there for a day or two, and he wrote down all of his thoughts on it. And it's really just a collection of basically just sayings or ideas, very simple thoughts. And it's called the Tao Te Ching, and it's just a series of statements. And the statement is, kind of the statement of the Taoist, or the Taoist philosophers, Taoist believers, is that the Tao Te Ching can be read either in an hour or in a lifetime. That you can spend your whole life studying these little sayings and these little ideas. I wouldn't say little, I'd say big ideas, but little statements. And one of my favorites of the Tao Te Ching is a statement that he who knows does not say, and he who says does not know. He who knows does not say, and he who says does not know. And that sort of encompasses the idea that, if you have this inner idea, this inner, you know things, that sometimes you just know them and you can't explain them, you don't feel the need to explain them, you just know them. And by that standard, I know very little, because I just had to explain something many of you probably understood as soon as I said it. But because I said it, and because I tried to explain it, I probably don't actually know it, is probably what the Taoist would say. Now, the Taoists are probably most well known for the idea of a yin-yang, that symbol of a circle with a line in which, half of it is black and half of it is white, with a little circle of black and a little circle of white. And it's the idea that there are forces that are constantly in flux, and that even the good and the bad are kind of constantly within each other, that there is both good and bad within everything. Now, so that would be probably the thing most of you know most well about it. The idea of one of the concepts of Taoism is a concept of wu-wei, the idea of action through inaction, and that would be kind of also with that saying, he who knows does not say, and he who says does not know. That those who action through inaction, and the idea here is that there's this inner power, that there's this sort of energy that flows through all of us. You would probably get things like there's this energy that flows through us that that they are trying to harness, that they're trying to capture, and that that you can do these things. And one of the stories of the Taoist is this one about this guy slaughtering a bull, and the butcher who has harnessed his wu-wei, who's harnessed his chi, who's harnessed all of his powers, basically just looks at the bull, and the bull falls apart into the pieces of meat. And he comes to the carcass and it does it. But the idea is that even within the he is able to slaughter these bulls and never have to sharpen his knife. The idea of like sharpening a knife is that if you hit something with a knife and it dulls it, but if you can always hit the perfect spot, and you always sort of go between the spaces, then the thing would never need sharpened. And so the idea is that the Taoist master, the one who knows the most, is able to basically to harness and find the energy and find the spaces and slaughter the bull and cut it up into pieces of meat without ever dulling his knife and without ever actually doing more than swinging, just, and it's all done, because he has taken and he has found the energy and the space between each cut that will avoid actually any friction, and the thing will just fall apart on its own. The other idea would be like feng shui, would kind of share roots with this. The idea of feng shui, some of you know this, is like, where you place your chair and your bed and the flowers and, which way you point things, that all that makes a difference in the harmony of a room, and that would be part of harnessing that energy. The idea is that there is this chi that exists within all of us, that this powerful chi, that this energy that we're trying to harness. And the idea here is you might have heard of like Falun Gong. It's a religious practice that was banned in China, in which these people stand out in gardens in the mornings, and they do this. Even it's not actually necessarily Falun Gong was sort of a cult, or at least that's the way the Chinese government considered it. And it was practicing of basically this idea of Qigong or Qigong, this practice of trying to harness one's Qi through these exercises. And you go out and you move your body, and they stand there, sort of these standing, maybe like a yoga pose, but very, very elaborate, slowly moving their body. And the idea is that by doing this, they're harnessing the energy within them and actually increasing their power and their energy. One of the most strange practices probably of the Taoists is a sexual practice. The idea that the belief is that by a male actually having an orgasm, that they actually release their chi. And so one of the more odd practices of it is that the Taoists try to they slowly, obviously when they're younger and stuff, they probably are not as skilled, but as they get older and as they practice and as they become a greater disciple of Lao Tzu, they get to a point where they try to practice where they have intercourse, but they do not actually release their chi. They do not actually have an orgasm. They may have an orgasm, but they don't actually release they don't actually ejaculate. And so that is one of the practices. It's an odd practice. You could probably look it up online, but that is one of the things they do. And that's all part of the idea that if you were to actually have an orgasm, you would actually release your energy, and by getting close to there but not actually releasing it, you increase your energy. And so it's all part of this increasing and dealing with this energy.